Please go ahead.
Good morning. I'm going to discuss a study in which we examined glaucoma in patients with retinitis pigmentosa. So, there is a well-established association between RP and glaucoma. Western literature has shown that between 2 to 12% of RP patients have primary open-angle glaucoma. However, the literature on angle closure glaucoma in RP is limited to just case reports and case series. So, the first part of our study was to determine the prevalence of primary angle closure disease in patients with retinitis pigmentosa. This was a retrospective review of all RP patients over the age of 10 years attending the ocular genetics clinic. Here, patients undergo a thorough evaluation, detailed history, pedigree charting. In the clinical examination, if any patients are found to have a shallow anterior chamber, high intraocular pressure, or cupping, they undergo a glaucoma specialist examination where a gonioscopy and detailed disc examination is done as well. Visual fields and ERG are done where required, and all patients undergo a macular SDOCT. So 618 RP patients were examined in our clinic during the study period. Of these, 1.3% had primary open angle glaucoma and 2.3% had primary angle closure glaucoma. So the first point to note is that angle closure glaucoma was more prevalent in the Indian RP population. Secondly, 3.6% were either primary angle closure suspects or had primary angle closure. This means the patients had occludable angles or peripheral anterior synechiae on gonioscopy but had not yet developed glaucoma. So if we look at the prevalence of the entire primary angle closure disease spectrum, that is PACG plus PAC plus PACS, it was 5.9% in the RP population. This is clinically relevant because these patients undergo repeated dilated examinations, and it means 6% of these RP patients require a YAG peripheral iridotomy. How does this data compare to the general population? So if we look at Indian population-based studies, the prevalence of PACG in those over 40 years is about 0.8%. When we looked at our RP population and isolated the patients over 40 years, our prevalence was 3.8%, which is much higher than that of the general population. Therefore, there is an association between RP and PACG. The second part of the study was done because the identification of glaucomatous damage in RP is challenging. This is because both diseases have RNFL thinning on OCT and visual field loss on perimetry. Hence, there is a need for a biomarker for glaucoma and RP. We know that RP is a disease of photoreceptor degeneration, while glaucoma is characterized by retinal ganglion cell apoptosis. Therefore, our hypothesis was in eyes with RP and glaucoma, the inner macula and OCT imaging will be thinner when compared to eyes with RP alone. To explore this hypothesis, we conducted a study to compare the thickness of different retinal layers on macular OCT in eyes of RP and glaucoma with those of RP alone. This was a case control study, and the participants included cases who had RP and glaucoma, who were compared to controls with only RP, and the two groups were matched for vision and central foveal thickness. We excluded patients with any maculopathy or poor OCT images. All patients underwent a spectralis OCT, in addition to the total retinal thickness and individual layers, we also evaluated the ganglion cell complex, which is nothing but the ganglion cell layer, the RNFL, which are the axons of the RGCs, and the IPL layer, which are the dendrites of the RGCs. Statistical analysis was performed using mixed effect models after adjusting for the use of 2 eyes per patient. We had 21 eyes with RP and glaucoma who compared to 26 controls. They were demographically similar. The mean IOP and cup disc ratio was higher in the cases. Moving on to the macular measurements, the values in black are those of the controls, while those in red are those of patients with RP and glaucoma. So when we looked at the total retinal thickness, there was no difference between the cases and controls in any of the ETDRS sectors. However, when we looked at the ganglion cell layer, the nasal and inferior perifoveal sectors showed that the cases, that is the patients with RP and glaucoma, had thinner GCC compared to the controls. We also examined the outer retinal layers in both groups, and there was no difference between these patients. Therefore, to conclude, almost 6% of RP patients have primary angle closure disease, and therefore a gonioscopy is warranted in all RP patients. Eyes with RP and glaucoma have a thinner GCC layer in some of the perifoveal sectors on macular OCT, and this could be a potential biomarker for glaucomatous damage in this cohort of patients. Future work involves longitudinal studies of patients with RP and glaucoma to monitor progressive changes on the macular OCT and to compare these with other factors such as visual field changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zia. Nice presentation and nice observation. Any specific, modality of, like though you said you are looking for glaucoma very nicely, but choice of, machine, what you like to prefer? You like to go for a Heidelberg platform on this particular subset of patient, or any particular choice is there?
Yes, so the Heidelberg does give us a very detailed evaluation of the retinal layers, and that is what we used over here, the Spectralis. And in our future studies also, so now we found a biomarker for glaucomatous damage in these RP patients. When we follow these patients longitudinally, for example, if they have progression on visual fields, we don't know whether it's because of glaucoma or RP. So what we're going to do is identify whether the inner layers are, the GCC is reducing, and then also look at the ellipsoid zone, which is shown really well on the Heidelberg system, and see whether that is reducing, to compare these, and then we will plan our management as to whether the glaucoma treatment needs to be increased or whether this is the routine progression of the RP patients. Thank you.
Correct. That's what I wanted to tell you. Before we start, I think Dr. Parth Rana is also there. Dr. Parth, you want to comment on something, please?
Yes, specifically, if they are using Spectralis, do you have any used any other machines like Zeiss Topcon? Have you compared this?
So in RP patients, we have not compared the different machines. In glaucoma patients, we have compared, and we find that the Zeiss system is actually the ideal system in a routine glaucoma evaluation of RNFL and GCC, because it gives us the GCIPL. But in retina patients, because the outer retinas are so well imaged, we preferred the Heidelberg system for this particular cohort of patients.
Okay, great.